Feels like I haven't done this in a little while. It's been a minute, man. Yeah, international break. Obviously, final leg of the season. Yeah, it's been a mad week, man. For me, especially because obviously of what's happening with my club at the moment. But we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, usual roundups. Obviously, any news that I obviously have seen or will remember, I'd obviously put in this video as well. I hope everyone's good, about to have a good weekend. Premier League football is back. Let's get into match day 28 before the international break. City ground, Nottingham Forest 1, Newcastle 2. One of those games that I thought Nottingham Forest would pick up points in. Newcastle went in the best of form, and I thought Forest would have had a little bit more for them on that evening. Newcastle were excellent from what I saw, from what I remember. Really decent showing from Isak as well. Seems to have sort of put a little bit of a run together now with regards to his goal scoring. Newcastle showing that they're still up for a fight, for the top 4 fight. I don't think they have enough to do it, to be quite honest. I still think it's going to be us to pip just a bit ahead of them, and potentially Liverpool as well. Obviously Liverpool are playing in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Team sheet, I believe, is out, and Haaland hasn't made it. For anyone obviously interested, Haaland is not in the squad for Manchester City today, injured. But no, good win for Newcastle. They keep up their fight for the top 4. As for Nottingham Forest, I wouldn't say they're in free fall at the moment, but I did say that their home form will be what keeps them up, and I still am a big believer of that, even though most of the bottom 12 are trash at the minute. I think Nottingham Forest have a better squad than most, and that's why I think they'll stay up. Moving on to the G-Tech, that's Brentford 1, Leicester City 1. Again, one of those games that I thought Brentford would turn Leicester over, and it wasn't to be. Brentford ended up with 10 men on the day as well. I thought this would be a complete blowout. This was one of those on an ACCA where you'd always have goals. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals. And I think that probably ruined a lot of people's ACCAs last weekend, or 2 weeks ago even. I didn't see the game, so can't really give too much on it, but really valuable point for Leicester. As for Brentford, I still think they're making a top 10 anyway, so I expected a little bit more out of the game from the stats that I saw. Obviously didn't watch the game, but from what I saw of the stats, I believe that Brentford should have probably beaten them. Southampton 3, Spurs 3. I'm not going to rant on this. It's been coming. I've never been a Conte out person, to be fair. I kind of was happy with what he did, because it needed to be said. The board have been taking liberties for the longest amount of time now. But by saying that, I'm not blaming the board solely. I'm not blaming Conte solely. I'm not blaming the players solely. That means everyone is the reason why Conte is sacked. Players have not been playing to their full ability. Absolutely not. But Conte hasn't been helping himself with the selections and obviously the tactics. The system doesn't seem to work. Certain personnel just not up for the fight. It's a little bit of a mess. And then you've got the board, who have been given money. Don't get me wrong. They've obviously given money, but it's not the right fit. It never was the right fit. It felt like a bit of a stopgap for Conte, kind of something to appease us. And I was happy when Conte came in, for obvious reason, but it just has not been as fruitful as I would have liked. So Conte is now gone. Christian Stellini and Ryan Mason are going to take over the squad for the rest of the season. There's 10 games left. We still have a top 4 fight. For me, the season is not over. Obviously, top 4 will be lovely Champions League football next season. And then we get Pochettino back. We'll get Nagelsmann in. Someone just to take the club forward. I miss attacking football. We haven't had that in the past 4 seasons. We've got players that just know how to attack, but we need to find the right type of balance. And this is why I think bringing Poch back or bringing Nagelsmann in would be the way forward for me. Yeah, the football was horrid. Again, at St Mary's, Southampton 3, Spurs 3. We were coasting at one point. We were winning 3-1 in the 71st minute. Perisic with the third goal. And all of a sudden, we just seem to stop playing. But that's what we do. We don't tend to put teams away. I say that, and we're 2 goals ahead against the worst team in the league. Like, it's putrid right now. I don't want to go on and say too much. Obviously, Harry Kane on the score sheet again. Pedro Porro with a really, really good day, first goal as well. And Perisic's first goal as well, which is a really, really, really good shot from just inside the area. Something needs to change. Whether it's the board relinquishing, which I don't see. We need a manager that's forward thinking, which was Pochettino before he was fired. And obviously, before he was fired, he was saying that we had to turn the page. We didn't listen to him, and now look at us. So, yeah, lots to think about on that. But the game itself, good game for the neutral, not good for me. But it ended up being 3-3. Southampton will still probably get relegated. And like I said before, I still tip us to finish in the top 4 now that Conte has departed. Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0 from Villa Park. That was a formality. I did say that Aston Villa will probably win this game quite comfortably, and so they have. They've picked up a little decent run of form, Aston Villa, since that loss to Arsenal. I think they're unbeaten in the last 3, I think it is. No, they're doing okay. They are doing okay. I think Aston Villa now are certainties to obviously not be in a relegation dogfight. I see them being sort of around about 9th to 11th, which is probably where they should be. That's probably where their squad sort of dictates where they should be anyway. So I'm not surprised to see them sort of where they're at the moment. And they really have a decent manager who knows the Premier League, obviously being with Arsenal before. Aston Villa can go from strength to strength on this. Have a really, really decent summer as well. If they recruit well, I do see Aston Villa sort of pushing for the next, sort of 7th, 8th places. But obviously depends on who they get in. Moving to Molineux, Wolverhampton 2, Leeds United 4. Crazy game. Crazy game. Wolverhampton ended up with a man sent off there as well. Leeds United shocks me a little bit because they are woeful away from home. And this wasn't the game that I had them down to take up 3 points, because Wolverhampton under Lopetegui have been a lot better recently. But Leeds showed out. Leeds showed them what was good. Leeds were 2-0 up within the first, 40, 45 minutes. And it absolutely blew them out the water second half as well. Wolverhampton completely capitulated, which is not something that I would have stated about them over Lopetegui's sort of short career there at this moment in time. But yeah, shocking result. Leeds United taking all 3 points, winning 4-2, which obviously helps them up their charge of table. Wolverhampton sort of stay where they are at the moment. And I do see both of these. No, sorry, I see Wolverhampton staying up. I think Leeds are in trouble. Well, obviously, they may not be if they pick up results like this. So they've got a tough one this weekend, and I'm going to need Leeds to show out again if they can. Moving on to Chelsea versus Everton at Stamford Bridge. I did say this will be a tough one for Chelsea because Everton do like to cause trouble there. Aston Villa come to Chelsea this weekend as well, and that's another team that like to come to Stamford Bridge and cause trouble too. This one I had as a 1-0 Chelsea win last week, I believe, but I did say it will be tough. And so it proved. Everton did not give up under Sean Dyche. They're a different kettle of fish. Obviously, that's where we're going on Monday to Goodison, which I'm not looking forward to. I actually got offered a ticket for this, and I'm not taking it. I'm not going to go to that because it's a long way home if we lose as well. It's just not happening. But no, really, really good show from Everton. Not so much from Chelsea. Chelsea actually quite lucky to pick up the points that they did. I thought Everton were the better team from what I saw. And it just shows, you can have all the money in the world. If you've got no structure and you don't play as a team, teams will walk all over you. And Everton are very, very powerful in the midfield. And that's where the game, for me, was sort of taken away from Chelsea. Not really strong enough in the middle. Everton pretty much ran the second half. And they rallied at the end as well. Really, really decent goal from Sims. Which I believe is his first goal of the week of his senior football at Everton. But no, really, really good attitude. And Everton will be fine, like I said, since they got rid of Lampard. Sean Dyche is going to lead them out. And he's doing so. So said, so done. And last game of the weekend was Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 1. Again, another formality. I'm getting tired of these lot, to be quite honest. I didn't expect Crystal Palace to go there and obviously win the game, but I expected Crystal Palace to at least have the legs to outrun Arsenal. Jesus Christ. Arsenal had a European game in midweek, took it all the way to extra time, and then lost it on penalty shootout. You're trying to tell me that Crystal Palace couldn't match them for legs? Come on. And you sat Patrick Vieira before the game as well. Like, what did you? I just don't know. I don't know. I still don't think Arsenal will win the league. 10 games to go. I do see them dropping points in at least 3 of them. And that's the 3 games against Manchester City, Liverpool, and there'll be Newcastle as well, I believe. Chelsea still got to go there. That could be a banana skin. They've got some decent teams coming up as well, to be quite honest with you. I think they've got Brighton coming again as well. Brighton like to show out. Yeah. I still don't see Arsenal doing it. As well as people may, think they're playing, I don't think they're winning it. I've said it from the start of the season. This is the time they capitulate, and I fully expect them to do so. So I'll be watching very intently. Anyway, match week 29. Like I said before, Man City Liverpool's kicking off in about 35 minutes. Haaland not on the team sheet again, for anyone who didn't know. I still predict Man City will beat Liverpool at the Etihad. I'm going with a 2-1 win. Because I think this might be a blessing in disguise for him, to be quite honest. I really do. I think that helps Man City with the style that they've got. Haaland isolates a lot from the sort of, the midfield. At least with him out, midfield strikers, there'll be rotation everywhere. I think that bamboozles Liverpool, and I think Man City win the game 2-1. Really, really good game to kick off this weekend. We move to the Vitality Stadium. That's Bournemouth versus Fulham. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I don't think Fulham are running out of steam, but I do think Bournemouth at home are a different kettle of fish. And obviously, Bournemouth's last home game was a win against Liverpool. So I do see a stalemate on this one, a 0-0, 1-1 type game. I don't see it being overly exciting either. But obviously, I've said that before, and it's proved to be the opposite. But I'll go with a 1-1 draw there. Nottingham Forest versus Wolverhampton from the City ground. I'll go with a 1-0 win, Nottingham Forest against Wolves. Wolves don't know how to score goals away from home. That's the big thing for me. Whilst Nottingham Forest aren't playing the greatest of football at the moment either, they are picking up sort of really valuable points, especially at home. And I do think they'll nick a goal against Wolverhampton today. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 win there. Crystal Palace versus Leicester City. I will give Palace the benefit of the doubt, seeing as they are at home. I've said this throughout the whole season, to be quite honest, and I keep on getting proved wrong. So you know what? We're going to go with a draw. We'll go with a 1-1 draw. Crystal Palace versus Leicester City from Selhurst Park. Arsenal versus Leeds from the Emirates. It should be a formality for Arsenal, and it probably will be. I'm probably going to go with a 3-1 win to Arsenal, though I'm hoping Leeds can turn them over. Not much to say about that, to be quite honest. Any home game Arsenal tend to have, they always tend to win, so there's not really much more I can really say on it. Brighton versus Brentford, for me, is one of the games of the weekend. Two very, very good attacking sides, but both can defend quite well, which leads me to believe this is going to be a 0-0 draw. It's got a draw written all over it. 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, you name it. I can't tell these two apart. If I was to put my neck on the line and say, a team would nick it, it will probably be Brighton, considering that they are at home. But Brentford are a very, very good unit. That's why I'm going with a 0-0 draw. I think they'll cancel each other out, to be quite honest. That's my take on that. And that is from the Amex Stadium. Late game tonight is Chelsea versus Aston Villa. As I stated before, Aston Villa go to Stamford Bridge again. They do like going there, Aston Villa. They do get a little bit of joy at Chelsea, and have done in the past, of course. Some really, really good games there, and there's always goals in this game. I do see Chelsea 1-0 win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Unai Emery goes there and turns them over. Aston Villa travel quite well in London. I think they've beaten us here as well. They're a decent unit that like to cause problems on the break, and do have very, very quick players and direct players, which Chelsea don't like. So this one could be a really, really decent game tonight. That from Stamford Bridge, that's a 5:30 kickoff. Moving on to Sunday, West Ham versus Southampton. That is from the London Stadium. I don't see a hope in hell for Southampton, to be quite honest, taking any points on this one. Reason being because they're terrible. I mean, we obviously didn't beat them last week, but we are shocking. We're yeah, there's not much more to say about us, to be quite honest. But West Ham are a decent unit at home. There's been no European distractions. I do see West Ham turning Southampton over. I'll go with a 2-0 win there. Super Sunday, Newcastle versus Manchester United. That's the game off Sunday, of course. I'll go with a Man United 2-1 win. Because Man United just seem to know how to get the job done. Not saying that Newcastle don't. I just think Man United are in better form. They've got obviously the better players. Newcastle at St James's Park are sometimes a different kettle of fish. It's a tough one to call. But I will go with a Man United win. I will go with a Marcus Rashford goal in that game as well. And I do see it derailing Newcastle a little bit. Because Everton versus Spurs is on the Monday Night Football. I know what I said before about me being offered a ticket, not wanting to go up to Everton to lose. I don't actually think we're going to lose the game. Now that Conte's gone, I think the game Stellini's obviously managed. I think he's lost only one of them. So he clearly knows what he's doing. He's picked up wins against Man City, Chelsea and West Ham, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And massive game for us. Massive, massive game. I think this game determines where our season goes from here. And if we win, I think we'll be in the race and running for the top 4. I think we'll get it. If we lose, I think I'll probably count the season out for us. Start again next season and then, move on from there. So I'll go with a 2-1 win for us, but it's going to be a hard-fought 2-1 win. But I do see Harry Kane on the score sheet, who does love to score against Everton. So I think he'll get a brace. So that's my roundup. We've also got match day 7 games that should have taken place before, which are taking place now on Tuesday. Leeds United versus Nottingham Forest from Ellen Road. We've got Bournemouth versus Brighton, that is from the Vitality Stadium. And then we've got Leicester versus Aston Villa, and that's from the King Power Stadium as well. I'll probably do a video next week, Friday or Saturday, before the Saturday games. But yeah, it's good talking to you guys again. Internationals ruin everything. I feel like I'm all over the place. I do feel like this video was kind of rushed a little bit, but obviously I know the game is starting in a little while and I kind of want to go and watch it. But try and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Next week is bank holiday as well, so obviously I'll do a video for that. And yeah, we'll speak soon in a bit.